The core promise of a modern companion AI is simple: generate deep, human-like empathy. That connection drives massive engagement and keeps people coming back. But that exact human feel is now a legal trap. State and federal regulators are aggressively targeting platforms whose bots act too much like people, treating that artificial empathy as a risk to mental health. To stay online, you have to actively degrade the illusion. You have to introduce intentional friction between your user and your bot. The dilemma is no longer whether your AI will be regulated. It is exactly how much engagement you are willing to sacrifice to keep your product legally viable. The U.S. has built a new legal architecture for AI, and it operates on two distinct layers: the federal floor and the state ceiling. The federal floor dictates procedure. It tells you how to operate, requiring hard age gates to block minors, strict FTC takedown deadlines, and mandatory safety disclosures. The state ceiling governs doctrine. States are enforcing existing medical practice acts, imposing fiduciary limits on what the AI can say, and demanding severe geo-fenced restrictions. Failing to comply on either front is expensive. Platforms face civil penalties of up to $250,000 per violation, along with severe federal criminal liability if a bot crosses the line into inducing harm. To keep an AI product on the market, developers have to design features that clear the broad procedural hurdles of the federal government while dodging the strict doctrinal traps laid by the states simultaneously. We can see the federal floor taking shape right now with the GUARD Act. It has bipartisan support and is aimed directly at mitigating the mental health harms caused by AI chatbots. The bill's first core requirement demands mandatory ID-based age verification. Platforms must check a government-issued ID or a commercial equivalent to entirely block anyone under 18 from accessing the service. This creates a hard trade-off. Checking IDs shields your company from criminal liability, but it inserts massive friction into your onboarding. It severely damages user acquisition. Second, you have to actively break the fourth wall. The chatbot must clearly disclose that it is a non-human system and that it holds no professional, medical, or therapeutic credentials. Those persistent legal warnings shatter the illusion. The deep emotional immersion that users seek in companion apps is constantly interrupted by compliance text. If your product simulates sustained emotional connection or acts as a therapeutic sounding board, these rules form your absolute minimum baseline. The GUARD Act forces a binary choice on founders. You can optimize for uninhibited user growth, or you can comply with federal law and avoid criminal liability. You cannot do both. On May 19th, federal regulation moves from legislative debate to operational reality. That is the compliance deadline for the Take It Down Act. The requirement is strict. If your platform is covered, you must have a live, written, signature-verified process to remove non-consensual intimate imagery within 48 hours of receiving a request. Missing that 48-hour window is prosecuted as a direct violation of the FTC Act, making the Federal Trade Commission your primary enforcing body. Hitting a 48-hour turnaround requires immediate, heavy capital investment. You have to build out human trust and safety teams or deploy highly accurate, automated moderation pipelines. If you treat AI regulation as a future problem, you are misreading the timeline. Failing to hit this deadline invites immediate Federal Trade Commission enforcement action within days. While the federal government requires operational procedures, individual states are setting the ceiling by suing over what the AI actually says. Look at the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Character.ai. The state attorney general is using medical practice acts to go after a chatbot company for unauthorized medical practice. The company argues their bots are purely fictional entertainment. The state counters with evidence that the AI produced a fake medical license number and actively offered to schedule a clinical psychiatric assessment. This aggressive state-level litigation leads to the ultimate compliance trade-off: geofencing. We are seeing this tested in open court during the state of New Mexico's public nuisance trial against Meta. New Mexico is demanding a $3.7 billion mental health fund, rigid 90-hour-per-month usage caps for minors, and bans on infinite scroll during school hours. Meta's response has been to threaten pulling Facebook and Instagram out of New Mexico entirely, rather than rewriting their national codebase to comply with a single state's rules. The state regulatory ceiling has become so restrictive that completely abandoning specific geographic markets is now a legitimate business strategy. If you are building in the health and wellness space, there is a clear operational rule. The clinician owns the clinical decision, not the AI. California's SB 903 shows exactly what this looks like. It legally restricts AI in therapeutic settings to supplementary administrative support tasks only. This forces the licensed human clinician to absorb the legal liability. As a result, your product pivots from a viral direct-to-consumer app into a B2B enterprise tool. The legal cure to unsupervised AI harm is supervision by design. You have to force a human back into the loop to validate the AI's output. This chart shows the exact compliance path you need to follow based on the specific type of AI product you are building. If you are building general LLMs or homework helpers, your compliance burden remains relatively low. Just Insured's 48-hour takedown process is live by May 19th. If you are building an AI companion, you are the primary target of this legislation. You must implement hard age gating and credential disclosures immediately. And if you are building AI health tech, you must abandon autonomous therapy models entirely and design strictly for licensed human supervision. Building an engaging AI product without considering legal constraints is no longer a viable strategy. Long-term success requires building strict legal guardrails from